So this is going to be a super quick video. Basically, I'm going to be, showing you guys what I would do to scale to 10K a month if I were to start my agency from zero again. So for some context, just before I get into it, I've made $113,000 and I'm 17 years old. That's all from the agency. So for some proof, I'm going to show you. So if we go from 1 to 30 and then go 31st, so you guys don't think I'm fucking lying. Yeah, $113,000. Yeah, I'm 17 years old. So yeah, so what I basically do, I run an agency in the home service space, and yeah, it's gonna be my first quick basically video, kind of start showing you some more value and stuff. So if you guys have anything that you want me to go through specifically, feel free to comment it down below, and then we'll definitely look into it. So I'm gonna get straight into it. I don't want to waste so much time. I have a shit ton of work to get to. So yeah, what I would do to scale from 0 to 10K a month as soon as possible if I were to start my agency again. So I would stick to one offer, one service, and one niche. It's always best to stick to one thing, especially before you're at like this 20, 30K a month stage, because obviously changing is not going to get you anywhere, right? I will get. Yeah, I don't know why I cut out, but yeah, I was saying we'll get into it in just 1 second. Why I would basically choose one offer, one service, and one niche. So yeah, I'll basically just stick to that. And for example, that can be home services, that can be Facebook ads and appointment setting, and if you have any guarantees. So one of the things, I wouldn't complicate it too much. Just stick to one industry and then stick into it. So that can be home services, that can be car detailing, whatever it is. If you do have experience with construction, go to that directly. If you have experience in car detailing or whatever it is, go to that directly. I wouldn't recommend restaurants and like these things. They do work obviously, but just to start with, I wouldn't do that. And yeah, I would just stick to one thing. Keep it super simple. Every single niche has its own upside and downside. So if everyone is doing home services, you're always going to be like, oh, what if car detailing is easier? No, it's the same shit, it's the same everything. I would say stick to one thing. Everything works unless you're consistent. You're actually putting in the work. So yeah, and then service, that can be Facebook ads with appointment setting, and then you have guarantees in place. So guarantees can be like, if we don't get you X amount of appointments, we'll give you your money back or work with you for free. So one thing in terms of offers, when you're building your offer, I can make a separate video on that, going deep into it. If you're getting started, I would say always try to get monthly recurring revenue. If you want to get PIFs, you can. Whatever it is, it's like you just have to focus on money in. Money is going to be the main thing. Even if you're going to get someone for like $500 a month, $200 a month. My first client was $150. You just need whatever comes in, because your first couple of clients, that's where you're going to learn from. The results might not be the best, but you're going to try. Obviously you're going to go all in. So yeah, what I would say is try to put in guarantees if you can. Obviously, don't put in guarantees where be like, oh, we're going to refund you if we don't get you X, Y, Z, and make it realistic. So literally go on like Facebook ads library or just see what your competitors are doing, and then do something similar. And you can always go in at any price. Like I was telling my friend who just started an agency, when you're building an offer, when you're getting your first couple of clients, what I would do is I would do whatever it takes to get them in, right? So that can be like $200, down, and then pay the rest at the end of the month when you're happy, or whatever it is. Just sign as many clients as you can, get comfortable with service delivery. But if you want to hit 10K a month fast, you want to be moving quick and getting as much money in as possible. Whenever you're on the call, get deposits, get money, whatever it is. So yeah, that's what I recommend. And the thing is as well, it's good to know what your service is, but it's not to the point where you're super like you're questioning. It's like, oh, do I actually get the results? This, because that's only gonna make you think even more. And the only way you're gonna learn is by doing it, right? So I wouldn't focus on anything. Just have an idea of like what you're selling, obviously the service delivery, what your offer looks like, but don't get into it because you can't get metrics if you haven't run ads before, for example. So I would say just get into it. Get your first client. That's going to be your first main thing. Money in, clients. That's it. I'm going to get into it in just a second. But yeah, don't try to make everything perfect. Nothing's going to be perfect at the start, but down the line, once you start getting clients in and stuff, you can hire people. But that's not going to be. I hired my first employee when I was doing like 35K a month. So anyways, yeah, just focus money in, a fuck ton of volume, know what you're selling. Don't be, don't question it too much, right? Second thing is, do not set time-based goals. Don't say like, oh, I'm going to hit 10K a month in the next 3 months, or don't attach a goal to time. And that was the biggest thing that I've done, that I did like 3 years ago, and it fucking killed me, right? I'm like, I want to hit 10K a month in the next 3 months. And what ended up happening is like, you basically get closer. You're like 2 months in, and you're like, you still made like $100 or maybe even no money, and you're just working every day. And you're like, oh shit, I have 1 month. If I don't do it, it's going to be a failure or whatever it is. No, it doesn't work like that. It might take you a year, it might take you 6 months, it might take you 3 months. It's going to be different for everyone, and it really depends on you. You're the one that's going to make this faster. You're the one. It depends on your beliefs and stuff as well, because obviously you want to understand it's possible. Like when I was growing up, I grew up with my parents. My mom was making like 4K a month or something, so they always thought all of these things were fake. So I would just say, obviously, if you genuinely believe you can make it, you will make it. If you can actually put in the work, if you can actually handle the stress and being consistent every day, putting in a fuck ton of volume while seeing everything break, if you can handle that, you can make it. All right. So never set time-based goals. Always set, let's say, goals based off your input. You want to do 300 cold calls today. You want to do this. You want to do this. So that's what I recommend. And obviously, the more work you put in, the more volume you put, the faster you're going to get there. Right. So acquisition. So if you're just Okay, yeah. So I was saying, so if you're just starting out, get your first client, what I would recommend is, look, if you have like sales experience, agency experience before, and you do have capital, then that's a whole different thing. You can go with like paid ads, you can do SMS, you can do emails, you can do something that's paid, but cold calls is always the main thing. So if you guys are starting out with an agency or something like that, you want to get good at, and comfortable with speaking to clients, because that's going to help you on sales calls. It can help you, booking appointments, doing everything basically, right? So obviously, cold calling is a pain in the ass. Everyone knows that. It's a fucking headache, but that's the best way. It is hard, it is painful, but it's gonna level you, very, very quickly, and it's very, very important, right? Because if you go directly to like paid ads, doing this, first of all, you need a fuck ton of capital. Second of all, you might not even understand your industry that well. That's why cold calling is good, because you're gonna be talking with the people, with your ICPs, which is your ideal clients. You're gonna keep learning more and more with them. So what I recommend is obviously going with cold calling directly. If you're just starting out with no experience with like talking or whatever, cold calling, you can get into like SMS and emails, so that way you're getting like inbound leads and you call them. So yeah, that's what I recommend. But cold calling, it's because like I did 15,000 cold calls the first year, that I started my agency. It was like in a span of a couple of months. Then I switched into ads. So yeah, I would say cold calling, just because you get used to talking with your ICPs, you get used to over the phone, you get better at talking, and obviously you get more comfortable, right? So that's the thing. So I would say cold calling, set as many appointments as you can, get as many sales calls as possible, and that's mainly it. Because the more sales calls you do, the more cold calls you do, you're only going to get better. And the thing is, I would not judge your percentage, so your show up rate, your close rate, your appointment booking rate on everything, unless you've had at least like 30, 40 appointments set, and then your percentage on your cold calling rate, and it's only going to get better. So never sit down and think, oh, today we didn't book any we didn't book any appointments. I did like 300 cold calls. That's normal. You can have days where you're going to call 100 people, you're going to get like 5 appointments, and there's days where you're going to call 300 people and get 0. That's literally sales. So yeah, the thing is, if you do have capital, I'm going to make a separate video on that. So if you guys want me to do anything specific, comment it down below, and I'll go through it. And yeah, as I mentioned, this is not going to be easy. That's something you want to stick to for the long run. Put in as much effort as possible. If you're in school, uni, if you have a part-time job, whatever it is, so put in everything that you can. You're going to be working seven days a week if you can. If not, that's fine. But as I mentioned, the more work you put in, the more consistency you have, the faster that you're going to get there, right? So yeah, that's mainly it. I didn't have it too detailed because I have a shit ton of work to get to. But if you guys have anything, comment it down below, and I will record a video on that. Or you can also send me a message on Instagram, and I'll respond to you with a voice note.